Hey math kids, today we're going to talk about how to place a picture into Desmos, and then also how to kind of guess and check our way through modeling one piece of that picture. So once again, we go to desmos.com, click graphing calculator. We're going to add an image. Then I have an image of a water fountain. Okay, so we have this water fountain right here. Now, we can change different things. We can rotate it if we want to. I'm going to keep the rotation at 0. We can change the height, the width. We can also change where the center is. Now, my goal with this picture is to actually make this the ground or the x-axis, and to make this point the y-axis. So I'm going to play around with the center. I want to shift it up quite a bit, and so I'm going to change the y value. To do that, that's too much. Try 3, that's not quite there. Try 2, it's pretty good, but I want a little bit less, so maybe 1.9. Oops. A little bit less, 1.8. Okay, I'm going to call 1.85. Okay. See how this is going? The water stops right at the end of that. Now, I want this point to be over here, so I want to move over to the right. So maybe I'll try 3. That was too much. Try 2. That's almost there, but I still want to be a little bit, so 1.9. And I want to be right in the middle of the stream of water, so I'm going to try 1.8. Maybe 1.85 as well. Wow, that kind of lucked out. Okay. Now, that's my center. I'm not going to mess with my width. I could have messed with it earlier, but since I found the spot where I want to be, I'm going to keep that. Now I just click and drag, get this kind of, and then do the 2-finger zoom thing on your trackpad. And there we go. Okay, so now we're looking at it. Now I want to create a new thing down here, and I want to try to figure out a curve that lines up with this. So this looks like a parabola, and so I'm going to start with x squared. So I'm going to say y equals x caret squared. Okay, that definitely is not right. So to flip it upside down, I'm just going to put a negative. Now it's at least oriented the correct way, but obviously it's not lined up with this. Now, if I want to move it up, what I'm going to do is add something to the outside. So my goal is, this looks like the middle of this is right at 4, and so I want it to move up 4, so I'm going to do plus 4. Now see how these curves seem to line up pretty well if I were to shift this over here, but their height is about the right place, so I feel pretty good about that. But you could always, fine tune it or change this number as we get closer. Now, if we want to move it to the right, it's actually counterintuitive. So this is the positive direction. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a parenthesis here, and since this is at 2, I'm going to subtract 2. Okay? Now we see that height, the highest point is right where we want it, but it's not wide enough. And so we're going to come out here, and once again, this is also kind of counterintuitive. If you want it to get bigger, you actually do a small number. So we do like 1 divided by 3. So you do something like 1 over a number to make it wider. And here, I'll just show you this. So if I were to do 3, see how it gets skinnier? And 4, even skinnier. And 7, even skinnier. So the reverse happens. If I do 1 over 3, it gets wider. 1 over 7 gets wider. 1 over 9 gets even wider. So I'm going to try 3, didn't work. 2, 2's pretty close, but I think it needs to get a tiny bit skinnier. So I'm going to say 1.9. And that looks pretty good. I actually think it needs to shift to the right just a tiny bit. So I'm going to say 2.1. Nope, that was too much. 2.05. Okay, that's pretty good. And so this would be the equation of that water flow out of that water fountain. If you need additional help, please come to Math Lab. Until then, calculator.